Welcome to Optimal Timelines. My name is Sean, and welcome to your November 2022 Tarotscope readings, special Eclipse edition. Now, we're right in the middle of eclipse season. The first partial solar eclipse happened October 25th, 2022, and we are right in the middle of that, and the next eclipse will be a complete lunar eclipse on November 8th. Now, if you're regular to this channel, you know that I use the North Node to read your tarot. And that is because the North Node is recognized in astrology to be your soul path, your North Star. And the eclipses happen on the nodes, and they're very transformational. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at what you're most learning and experiencing during this eclipse period, which will last not only a few months prior to the eclipse, but about 6 months after the eclipse. So let's get into the readings. I'm going to connect to the energies now. I call upon my spirit guides and guardians and the wisdom of my ancestors to bring forth the information that's true and correct for all who see this reading, that it may bring them the most beautiful, happy life possible and set them on their most optimal future timeline. So may it be. Okay, so this is the November 2022 special eclipse edition Tarotscope reading for everybody with their North Node in Libra and or the 7th house. Okay, so this is my Eclipse Spread, and I'll explain it to you right now. What this reading is about is, this is about what you're learning and experiencing during this eclipse period, because the eclipses are about our personal transformations in our life. So these first two cards are what you're experiencing and learning in this eclipse period. And you've got the reversed Ace of Pentacles, and you've got the reversed Four of Cups here. Now, what's underlying these two cards in what popped out was the Knight of Swords reversed, okay? So what I'm seeing here is that what you're working on for this eclipse period and 6 months after the last eclipse of November 8th, 2022, is working with your South Node in areas of the first house. And what I'm getting is, about being too impulsive or impulsive actions. That's what this Knight of Swords reversed is saying. It's like, hold your horses. It's like, in this lifetime, being impulsive or fast action doesn't really help you, because you're moving toward Libra. You're moving toward balancing the scales of, should I make this move or not? Not in an area of indecision, but of being kind of, discriminating in what you do and your actions. Now, the way this could play out is in two ways, okay? With the reversed Four of Cups, if you're experiencing, like in your emotional life, some discontent, or if things aren't maybe flowing like emotionally, look to the fact that are you moving too quickly? Like in whatever it is, like when you're making decisions about something, because that impulsivity that is with when you have that South Node in Aries of the first house could be like sometimes the actions could be too quick as opposed to thinking them through or feeling them through. And what can end up happening is it could, affect relationships in your life. It can affect your work relationships, family, friends, romantic relationships. And so what you're learning is you're learning to hold back, and to, you don't always have to act very, very quickly and decisively. There could be a period of waiting and judging and, like I said, weighing it out with Libra. Now, the other thing that's playing out too is you've got this Ace of Pentacles reversed. And what I'm seeing with this is this could play out during this eclipse period in, there could be issues regarding, like money, finances, property, raises, inheritances, investments, anything to do with things of value, that could be an issue. And if you're experiencing anything like that, now right now, obviously the whole world, we've got like worldwide inflation and definitely challenging times economically around the world. So a lot of us are feeling it. But for you in particular, what I'm seeing is that the way through things in your life is going to be really embodying that Libra energy, or that seventh house energy, and of, before acting, like, okay, what do these other people think, or if you're in a partnership, whether it be friends, family, or like a love relationship, what do they, before I act, what maybe I could get some feedback and talk, because see, that's what, Libra ruled by Venus, it's about the like an emotional connection. And I get where a lot of times people that have like North Node in Libra and their South Node in Aries, I get where you're coming from, because one of your gifts is when things need to happen quickly, you have the ability and the gift to make it happen quickly, okay? And that is a gift, but it has to be, just like any like superhero superpower, it has to be used, intelligently and sparingly, okay? And that means sometimes, like, for example, where you're coming from is you could say like, well, I just made this decision because I just thought it was easier. I don't want to burden them with anything. But a lot of times it's like, let's just say like it's like a love partnership. Your impulse might be to take an action. Well, like, I'll just go ahead and buy this, or I'll just go ahead and do this or pay this bill. And I know there's some people in my life that have this energy that have been close to me. And I asked them, I'm like, why didn't you just call me, like, or text me? Why didn't you just like check with me? And it's because you're coming from a good place a lot of times, because it's like it's like natural instinct and reaction to just do that. But this is kind of where it could play out, where decisions without checking with people, or for example, the way this could play out is someone who maybe takes initiative on the job, which initiative is good, but a lot of times taking action without maybe consulting others doesn't really work out that well. So this is what I'm saying. This is what you're working at. And a lot of this could be also you're making sense of maybe issues and problems that have happened in the past. And what you're learning to do is bring in that more Libran energy, which is like basically maybe before you take an action, whether that be in words or deed or whatever, just take a pause and say, okay, should I check in with somebody about this? Or even if you're just checking in with yourself, saying, okay, let me really think about this. And even it doesn't have to be this long drawn out thing. It could just be taking the pause, a few moments to a while, just to kind of like, process it. Now, where these two cards here this is the point of transformation. Okay, Six of Pentacles reversed. And then this is where I see it going right now, where this is going for you overall, which is the King of Swords. So the point of transformation is you have this Six of Pentacles reversed, right? And what I'm seeing is that if you're going to think about times in your life when it has not paid off for you to act impulsively. And that could be, a lot of times it's like a work thing. It could maybe even acting impulsively. If you look back on your whole life, it might have cost you, money in some way because, you maybe acted too quickly, or it could have cost you friends or a relationship. And that's what this is. This is like reviewing of, and the other thing with this reversed Six of Pentacles is one of the reasons why it's difficult for people that have their North Node in Libra or the seventh house to kind of hold back from being impulsive is because it almost seems like it's not the strong thing to do, if that makes sense. Because it's like, I don't need to ask anyone's help. I don't need to do this. And yes, you are naturally strong. You have the natural warrior energy. But what is actually more strong is when you're like, okay, I've got this feeling about I want to do this, but I should check in with my partner. I should check in with my boss, or I should check in with my friend. And people like that. See, that's what this is about. It's not about the person being over or more powerful than the other person. And it's not a position of weakness. It's actually a position of strength to allow yourself to kind of go in there. And people really appreciate it. And so how that can play out is in your life, when you find out, when you kind of hold back on being impulsive and you check in with people, it can translate into better relationships, more money, just kind of a happier life. And I do see that's where it's headed. We have the King of Swords right here, okay, which is ruled by the air signs, one of them being Libra. And I think that what's happening is with this eclipse season, you probably had you've been rehashing in your mind different situations of work, relationships, family, friends, and you're like learning from it. You're learning from it, and it's tough sometimes. It could be really difficult to kind of review this but through that, at the end of it, I think you'll see like, oh, okay, these are kind of where I need to make changes. And I think you're headed more toward, this is being very judicious and kind of taking care before you make moves, impulsively. So I do see that's where it's headed. Some of you may be further along with this than others, but I think ultimately, like, this is where it's headed. But there could be a few bumps in the road. Now, what can help you along on this path to do this? Here's your advice cards. You've got the Six of Cups reversed, and you've got the Three of Cups upright. Now, one of the things that can happen is that this is about your emotional past. This could be your past with your family, former relationships, or current relationships, but things that have happened in the past. Maybe relationships haven't gone so well and there have been issues. That's okay. This is a learning thing. Sometimes relationships and situations can be salvaged, and sometimes they can't. But even if if they can't be salvaged and made like perfect again, because maybe everything went down a certain road and there's no going back, that's okay, because it is valuable, like learning. It's just a life experience. Don't beat yourself up over past things you did or someone else did. It's just, we're all learning. We're all on our own paths. Like I said, we're just humans who are just trying to figure all this out. Okay. So this is about, use these past situations, even if they're difficult and if they haven't worked out like you wanted them to. You use them as a learning tool. Now, the other advice card, the Three of Cups, is this is like, the old song, like love the one you're with. This is like, who is in your life right now where you can become and embody that new person on your soul path. Okay, who is it? Remember, we're always looking for answers, all of us. We're looking for answers outside of ourselves. Well, just if the world did this, or if they were like that, or if I had this, or if I was, had this job or had this much money. Whereas when, as humans, okay, we are the common denominator in our lives. But right now, what you can do is look around the people that are in your life, people that care about you, people that you care about, like, in whatever situation and capacity that is, okay? How can you transform into this more Libran energy? Now, as I always say on my videos, and I'm going to keep saying it, the magic of the North Node is when we embody our North Node by sign and house, our lives transform. Doors start to open, our lives get much better. Why, might you ask, doesn't everyone do it? Because it is difficult. And the reason it's difficult is because our natural instincts are usually coming from our placement of the South Node by sign and house, and also our Pluto placement. Okay, I have videos on Pluto and the Pluto polarity point. But for right now, we're talking about like the North Node, okay? Natural instincts. So that's why it's difficult, because it's natural for us to do the things that we do. So we're fighting against what comes naturally or what is comfortable, okay? But so this is saying, you're doing this, don't worry about the past relationships, okay? They are what they are. It's a learning tool, but worry about your relationships right now and who is in your life and who can you transform into a better version of yourself, okay? So that is what you are learning and working through during this very, very powerful eclipse season. It's all about transformation, especially this November 8th eclipse in Scorpio, okay? It's about, an old part of you dying and going away and being reborn into like a new, better version of yourself. So I hope this reading was helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching, liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you would like a personal reading, there's a link in the description box below, and would love to give you more information on that. Go out there, be strong, embody your North Node, and become a better version of yourself, and you will see your life transform. Many blessings. We'll see you again.